So we are rounding out the Project Soapway Lotus Challenge week with an amazing soap and an amazing sudser, an amazing human. Her soap skills are epic. She's won a couple of these Project Soapway challenges. One of her soaps has actually inspired a Project Soapway challenge, and I'm excited to talk about her again, here, today. And I will do that in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for the final Project Soapway winner for the Lotus Challenge, and that winner is Our Twisted Tree. And Our Twisted Tree is an amazing company. It is a partner and partner, a wife and wife duo that runs the business together. They have the soap, which is artistically gorgeous and all of the stunning things. They have the art, which is artistically gorgeous and all of the stunning things. They have a whole boatload of children, which is probably artistically gorgeous and all of the stunning things. I haven't seen the kids, but I'm going to assume. And they have just an amazing, cool, awesome life. And I enjoy being able to get to be a part of that through the videos that get sent when Our Twisted Tree wins a soap making challenge. Now, I wanted to make sure to give plenty of time for the video today because last time that Susie won a challenge, I feel like I may have cut her footage a little bit short because, time constraints or whatever. And so I left out some of the awesome, just meticulous attention to detail that is Susie, that is Our Twisted Tree. And so I'm going to zip it here. But it's okay, because I'm just going to keep talking, while we watch her footage for those of you who like the sound of my voice. But let's go to Twisted and her footage and see her amazing lotus swirl. Okay, so when I say that I'm excited every time I get to see a Susie video, I mean it. I am excited because I get to meet another piece of her family every single time. It's amazing. Last time I got to meet Angie, who is the other half of Our Twisted Tree, and this time I got to meet a grandson. It was fun. So Susie's just here being perfectionist, making her lotus, hanging out, and Angie's in the background with the grandson, and the grandson is being a grandson, and he's loud and he's boisterous, and sometimes he's throwing little fits or whatever, and Angie's just laughing. It's the most adorable thing in the world, and Susie did warn me in this. She was like, yeah, so he's here, so you might want to turn the volume down, and at that point I turned it up, because I love the sound of just like chaos happening in the background while we are making all of these perfect soaps, because that's life. That's what we're actually dealing with all of the time. You got to be focused on this, but your ear is tuned to something else just in case you have to go do that. And so, yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that. So thank you for leaving the stuff in for this, Susie. I appreciate it. So Our Twisted Tree. She's amazing. They're amazing. They are both amazing because they do, both of them, run this business. And as you can tell from this video footage, Susie's been doing this for a while. She is just very, it's methodical in all of this. Everything is set up just off frame, ready to put the next thing on to measure it out. And here's her little trick. We're getting all kinds of pro tips from Our Twisted Tree today. And one of them is she's going to take this to 11, right? Because I have often thought about, and I have made a couple different lotuses on the channel wherein I've made more than 4 colors essentially. But when you're working with so many dividers in such a small space, that gets miserable, right? So 4 is reasonably the only amount that I can manage if I'm working with dividers and a standard size mold. She's going to do 5 colors, which ends up looking like a million colors, but she's going to do it in a very smart way. And like I said yesterday, when we were reviewing Sunstar's soap, and I, immediately went and got a lye solution ready to go before I finished editing the video footage. Same for this. Like, absolutely same for this, because as soon as I saw what she did with that gold, with that little bit of gold she's got going on there, I went, yep, I'm doing that, but I'm going to do it for every single cavity. And so I went and got a lye solution ready to go for that. You guys are inspiring me to actually get back into the beautiful soap making again. It's wild. I don't know that I like this, though, because it's October. You know what I mean? And so I really shouldn't be spending time making things beautiful, because I need to be spending time making things for production. But look at this. She's going to squeeze bottle some magic into this. So much pro tips. Attention to detail. Pro tip number 1 is, detail. Well, I guess pro tip number 1 is make sure you have a good color palette. But pro tip number 2 is attention to detail, and we are going to see that in spades throughout the entirety of this footage. Her colors are ready. Her scent is coming up. I don't know what it is, but let's get on to this pour, because it's going to be awesome. Yep, and on to the pour, perfectionist to the extreme. Now see what she's doing with her squeeze bottle here. She's going to take this gold and squirt it into the mold just along the side of one of her dividers, and then pour her white. And she's on the opposite side of the divider, looks like. And she's not really worrying about the dividers moving around too terribly much with all of this. Looks like she has a really nice seal on the bottom of her divider, so it's staying in place reasonably well. You will see that it starts to bow out as she gets more soap batter into that channel there, but she's not worried about it. It's not going to be a problem. I have heard tell that another tip for, doing a lotus or anything involving dividers is to, like, dip them in cocoa butter or something, before the pour, and then put it in the mold and let it dry, so it will sort of adhere to the bottom. I mean, that's an idea. You could also do melt and pour. I've also tried just like a layer of clear melt and pour on the bottom, and then just stick the dividers in. But ultimately, that ends up being more work, because then you have to scrape the cocoa butter off, or the melt and pour, or whatever, especially if you get the cocoa butter too thick. And so whenever I do use dividers, I just kind of do it this way. I don't bother paying much attention to it moving around, because you can always just slide that soap batter over to give you more room within the next channel. Does that make sense? You're going to see her doing it, so that will actually make sense at that point. But yeah, as you can see, it is getting a little bit wide there. But once she gets the soap batter into the next, it's not going to be a problem. Now, one way to sort of combat that would be to put the next color that goes, to the side there that she's holding in, put some of that in there and kind of help it all stabilize. Or you can just pinch it closed like this. And see, as she was working and getting the rest of her scents, it sort of started expanding into the next, channel there. It's not a big deal. It's okay. She can totally, continue working with this. Now, interestingly, I was told yesterday or the day before, that the reason why Hooked on Suds was using the thing in the middle was to keep the dividers in place and not moving around. I don't have any of these dividers. I've never purchased any of these dividers. I make my dividers out of Amazon boxes, and that's all fine with me. But that could also be an option, putting it in. Seems like more work, and you just kind of have it there in the middle, and you're having to work around it. I mean, ultimately, Courtney from Hooked on Suds, she just took it out, so it does seem like it's more work and sort of probably not necessary. Now, that said, divider work can be very tedious and annoying. So maybe that helps for people that just don't want to deal with the annoying. I don't know. But this is absolutely gorgeous. She's putting all the colors in a really interesting pattern. Now, Susie has a great eye for art. Also, I really want you to pay attention to her sweatshirt here, and I am going to do an attention grabber here in a little bit on it, but I just saw a glimpse of it, so it's not time yet. But she's an artist. She has gorgeous artistry. They do beautiful glass mosaics. They do wonderful, like, jewelry, pendants, copper wire wraps. I mean, it seems like Susie and or Angie, or possibly both, always have to be doing something with their hands, which I get completely, because me too. It makes me very I don't like it. I have to have something going on at all times. But her artistry is so precise and so beautiful that I bet she got this color palette just instinctually. She just like knew that this was going to look beautiful together, and she put it into the mold in such a way that it's really going to kind of ground the entire lotus with that darker blue color on the bottom and the lighter blue color on the top, with like the pink and the gold and the white, the really contrasting bright colors in the middle, drawing the eye to, you know, the middle of the bar sort of naturally, and sort of making the brain go, oh, this is pretty. You know what I mean? So good job is the point that I was making there. And yeah, I did the opposite with that. I put the black and the white in the middle, and nothing was grounded or whatever in my pour. I didn't really think about really overall what the colors were going to look like when it was all said and done. But you see there, see her shirt? Now, she told me in this footage that that was accidental. She just went to go grab a shirt to put it on to make some soap because, you know, she needs long sleeves or whatever. And then she noticed after she was done making that there was a lotus on her shirt. And also the lotus colors are pretty close to what she's making. So I thought that was adorable, like 100%. Now, she's continued to use this gold throughout the entire, you know, mold here, or the entire channel, so all the way up. And it's showing through at the end, and I don't know if I cut it out or not, but at the end of all of this, once she gets her divider out with very minimal spillage, but you will, or, you know, leftover soap batter, but you will be able to see what she does with that leftover soap batter here in a minute. But yeah, so I did not cut it out. She's going to take all of her remaining batter and put it on top. And she's so precise. But, you know, it's good because, you know, it's the right way to do things, especially in a lotus, because it's not just the top of a pretty bar, it's part of the pattern. And so it's kind of weird to have this beautiful pattern when you open up the bar, and then inside or on the top, you flip it over, it's just a weird mess that Mrs. Soap and Clay made, you know? But she is going to get all of these colors also represented on the top for her skewering before she actually does her skewering. Now, you can go either way with this. If you wanted to do a decorative top just in the top layer, but make sure you get the bulk of the swirl going. So at this point, you could do your swirls and then do the painstaking, you know, whatever of getting all these lines on the top, and then just skewer just the first, you know, the top 1/4 inch of your soap loaf. You can do that as well. Either way works. But my way is usually just the bad way, because again, I just put everything on there. And that's fine for most soaps, but not really for a decorative soap. And she's getting so super detailed with all of this. It is absolutely stunning. And this is not where her attention to detail ends, not by a long shot. She's going to give us pro tips on how, you know, she gets her bars and everything ready for product photography, but also for, you know, challenges, because that's the important bit when you're submitting a picture for a challenge. Now, I really am in love with her skewering. So her skewer is not quite a teeny tiny bamboo skewer, but it's also not as thick as the one that I used for my soap and clay soap, and definitely not as thick as like a Sharpie or the back of a wooden spoon. But I do want you to pay attention to how tiny and tight she has with her turns. So that is very, very close together with her turns. Now what that's going to do, as you can see, is pull these colors and create even more definition throughout the entirety of her lotus. Because again, if you're blending the colors in to create these beautiful V patterns or whatever, when she runs the perimeter of them, they're just going to continue blending with these beautiful points and spikes that she has going on with, you know, the gold into the blue and the pink into the darker blue and, you know, the reverse. And it will blend into a gorgeous, gorgeous flower pattern. Now, this does take, I guess this does take everything that I said in my video and completely turn on its head. And then also in Hooked, because I ended up with kind of an interesting not at all a lotus when I used a thicker skewer on very thin soap batter, right? Hooked used a thicker skewer on thicker soap batter. And then Sunstar used kind of a midway, about the same size that my skewer was, on very thick soap batter. And Twisted's soap batter is not as thick as Courtney's or as Sunstar's, but it's a reasonable weight. There's a reasonable heft to it, and a thinner skewer than I used, and it's still pulling those colors so beautifully, as you can see. So I don't know. I guess I am still not convinced or clear on skewers and what kind you should use, the quote-unquote perfect type, but this worked for her pour beautifully. And she's running it around, looks like 3 times so far, the perimeter of the mold, because again, remember, this is what makes a lotus, is the movement of the batter around the perimeter to really pull those colors all the way through and create the nice swooping pattern, so it ends up looking like a blooming, flower, like a lotus when it's all said and done. So she ran it, I want to say 12 times, or maybe 13 times, because 13 is the only acceptable number, because Taylor Swift. But also today is the 13th, and that's weird. So I'm going to go with 13. Yes. So obviously, gorgeous top. I'm sure she's going to spritz this so she doesn't get any soda ash on the top. And I don't know if she's going to C-pop it and gel it or not. Those colors are already stunning, so it doesn't really matter. But I do want to show you what she does with all of her extra soap batter. She makes more soaps in just little individual cavity molds, so she gets to practice her technique. She gets to continue working with the soap batter, and if they end up full-size bars, great, all the better. If not, they end up as awesome samples that, again, she got to learn on. She got to practice her technique to continue to perfect it and be awesome. And I do think that is awesome. So there's another way to use your excess batter. Keep playing with it. Let's go check out this awesome cut. Yes, S tier confirmed. So getting it out of the mold, she did say in this footage that it was very, very soft still. So she did get it out of the mold, but she did go ahead and let it sit for a few days or maybe a day before she cut it. And as you can see within the colors themselves, very, very gorgeous. Definitely soft. I would not want to be messing with this too terribly much right now. I don't want to ruin any beautiful designs for sure. Don't be like Mrs. Soap and Clay. Be like Twisted and just walk away for a day and cut it, when it's firmer. But look at the bottom. That looks very lovely too. Oh, it's so pretty. Even soaps just like that, if that's the pattern you don't do, running the perimeter with your skewer and really pulling them into whatever, even that is absolutely stunning. But obviously the other side, you see how it pulled beautifully, and it's definitely going to be gorgeous all on its own. But yeah, let's go watch her cut it, because she's got pro skills with all that too. So she's going to run it through, so she's cutting the bars horizontally, the whole loaf. Going to cut the whole loaf horizontally with her awesome cutter that I have been really trying to talk myself into asking Mr. Soap and Clay for. Make one of them. I don't really have any use for it except if I'm going to be doing designs. You know what I mean? But let's see what it looks like in the big form. That's so gorgeous. See, this is why you want to cut your slab or your loaves horizontally in one fell swoop. It looks awesome together. But then she's going to take both of those, put them back together, and run them back through her cutter to get all of her individual bars. Now, with all of this, again, you're working with kind of soft soap, which can be a benefit because it does give you the ability to clean up your edges and whatnot while it's still soft, so you don't have to take, a peeler to it later, which I definitely love. But also, it does run the risk of marring it or perhaps dropping it, and then it's, you got a smoosh pattern. It's a big old thing. Now, with this, she looked at them and she liked them, right? They're good. It's a good starting point for sure. So there's one version of it that's probably, probably middle of the bar-ish area, I would say. Now these end pieces that are there in the right corner, those are really going to be the money shots, I think. But as she said in this right here in this footage, she needs to find the perfect mates. And there aren't any perfect mates that easily, revealed themselves. And so she plays mix and match with all of it, but then she trims. So she's going to be trimming all of these bars to ensure that it is a perfect match to get her photo for the Project Soapway Challenge. And so, because again, you're being judged off a picture. So she's decided, working on this perfect match, we're going to trim it up so they match up perfectly and become the winning bar. essentially. But look at how gorgeous all of that is. It really does. While it is only 5 colors, it looks like a million just because of how tight and tiny everything is, her little revolutions. And here's the, remains of the day to create this. And it is perfect. Well done. Yep, that is absolutely stunning. I love it. I said 4 colors and she's like, how about a million? And they are all absolutely gorgeous. I definitely picked up a lot of tips from all of that I'm going to incorporate actually pretty soon, because this whole lotus thing has really, I have the bug again, like I have the desire to go and make more soaps that are pretty and like really beautifully designed. And so I've been on a lotus kick since I made mine. And so I'm definitely going to take some of the stuff I learned here with Susie and our twisted tree and, apply them to my soapy journey. That's the beautiful part of the soap making community. And I definitely am glad that the Sudser community is the embodiment of everything I love about soap making. And our twisted tree is a perfect representation of that for me. So everybody go give our twisted tree all the love. Go check out the website. All kinds of fun stuff. Everybody, I know I keep saying for websites and everything, go do that, and that's probably stressing the Sudsers that are winning out, because this is like the maddening hour. 'Tis the damn season. We're all scrambling to get our holiday lines on the sites and ready to go. I get it for sure, but go do it anyway. Go show her all the love, all the socials, all the things. Susie, thank you for existing in the Sudser community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a talented soap maker and for sharing your talents with us. You are amazing. All the other Sudsers, thank you also for existing and sharing those talents with us. You guys are all amazing. You rock. I hope everybody has an excellent weekend. I am out of here. Again, I'm supposed to say stuff. Discord, join, members, Project Soapway challenges, soapandclay.com, all those things. Yep. Oh, subscribe. Social media, don't do that. I'm never on social media, but you could. I mean, that's fine. But I gotta go. Everybody have a great weekend. I will see you guys all again in a few days for another week and another round of soapy fun. Bye.